Hi, I'm Dr. Nidhi Khare. In today's lecture, I'm going to talk about how can one inspire innovation. Students, the noted organizational consultant Gary Hamel believes that top management plays an important role when it comes to inspiring innovation in their companies. Radical innovation, he argues, is no longer an option for big companies. It's the imperative, adding that top management's job is to build an organization that can continually spawn cool new business concepts. Hamel identifies several ways in which managers can go about doing this. So he had identified several ways in which innovation can be inspired. Some of these are mentioned here for you. Set very high expectations, listen to new voices, create opportunities for talented employees, recognize innovation, and identify a cause. Coming to the first one, that is set very high expectations. People strive to meet performance goals. When employees are confronted with goals they find to be especially challenging but still not impossible, of course, they are forced to consider highly novel ways of accomplishing them. At GE Capital, for example, executives are expected to grow annual earnings by at least 20%. This leads them to consider more creative approaches and to develop more innovative products than they would if they were required to meet a more modest goal, such as the more typical 5%. Second, listen to new voices. If you ask questions of the same old people, you get the same old answers. But students, if you seek the opinions of outsiders free from industry prejudices, they are less likely to say you can't do it. Indeed, Jeff Bezos was not a retailing mogul when he started Amazon.com, and neither was Ted Turner, a seasoned broadcaster journalist, when he founded CNN. With this in mind, many of today's most innovative companies are doing things like seeking out the revolutionaries in the company, those whose voices are getting muffled by the hierarchy. They also are paying special attention to newcomers to the company, especially the youngest people. Again, GE Capital provides a good example. Intentionally seeking a youthful perspective, many members of the management team at this well-established financial service firm are hired when they are under 30. Next, create opportunities for talented employees. It is widely believed that the best people are always interested in the best opportunities within a company. The most effective organizations capitalize on this by allowing employees to move to other jobs within the company that they find more exciting. Sometimes this involves making the best use of a company's human resources by training employees for new positions that enable their organizations to be innovative. For example, IBM has committed to spend $200 million to train 1 lakh employees in high-skill jobs, such as those involving Linux systems and middleware, that is, software that connects two otherwise separate applications, such as linking a database system and a web server. Next, recognize innovation. Many experts believe that to get people to innovate, it helps to reward them for doing so. This is practiced at South Africa's First National Bank, FNB, which in 2005 initiated the FNB Innovators Competition. This program identifies and rewards employees who think creatively and who come up with innovations to ensure efficient and effective systems and procedures. According to Michael Jordan, CEO of F&B, innovation can either be a new approach to an old process or a totally novel idea. In its first year, 3,000 ideas were entered. The bank's cell phone banking division won first prize in 2005 for creating an entirely new way to do online banking. It is important to note that the recognition for innovative activity need not always be monetary in nature. Many companies find that simply recognizing employees for their innovations contributes to efforts to keep it going. At 3M, for example, a Hall of Innovators showcases the work for the firm's most innovative engineers. The company even has published its own book to celebrate the contributions of its innovators. Lastly, identify a cause. Most think of Charles Schwab as a well-established, rather traditional investment firm, although in many ways it is. That's not how President and co-CEO David Pottruck prefers to think of it. Rather, Pottruck envisions Charles Schwab's mission in far loftier terms, as guardians of its customers' financial dreams. By sharing this vision, Pottruck has gotten his employees to recognize that they are doing something important, contributing to a cause that will make a difference in people's lives. It was such thinking that inspired Schwab employees to take innovative steps, such as offering its services online and at a sizable discount. So, indeed, although these suggestions may be challenging to adopt, their considerable impact makes it unwise to ignore them. Now that I have covered almost every topic under creativity and innovation, I would like to discuss some questions so that you work on it and you get even a more fair idea of these topics. First question is, define creativity and describe the basic components of individual and team creativity. Now, to give you some hints, creativity is the process by which individuals or small groups produce novel and useful ideas. Creativity in organizations is based on three fundamental components that I have already discussed in my previous lecture: domain relevant skills, creativity relevant skills, and intrinsic task motivation. So I hope you recall what you have studied before and you are able to answer this question. Now moving on to the next question. Describe various approaches to promoting creativity in organizations. Now, as you know, creativity in organizations may be promoted by training people to be creative, by encouraging openness to new ideas, for example, thinking outside the box, by taking the time to understand the problem at hand, by developing divergent thinking. It also may be accomplished by developing creative work environments. These are ones in which autonomy is provided, people are exposed to creative individuals, ideas are permitted to cross-pollinate, jobs are made intrinsically interesting, creative goals are set, creativity is supported within the organization, people have fun, and diversity is promoted. This also I have discussed before, so now I'm sure you will be able to answer this question. Moving on to the next one. Identify the basic forms and targets of innovation and the stages of the innovation process. Now, the targets of innovations and stages have also been discussed before, so I'll just take a recap. Innovation refers to the implementation of creative ideas within organizations. It takes different forms depending on three factors. These are impact on existing business, sustaining innovation if impact is minor, and disruptive innovation if impact is major, the degree of uncertainty involved, incremental innovation if uncertainty is low, and radical innovation if uncertainty is high, and its sources: manufacturer innovation if ideas come from within, and end user innovation if ideas come from customers. The innovation process generally proceeds in the following 5 stages, as I've already discussed before: setting the agenda, setting the stage, producing the ideas, testing and implementing the ideas, and assessing the outcome. So I hope you would be able to answer this question. Now moving on to some questions which those students who have some amount of work experience will be able to answer. Do you think of yourself as a creative person? What you do to become more creative when it comes to the work you do? Have you ever worked for a highly innovative company? If yes, what was done that made it so innovative? And if not, what could have been done to make it more innovative? Lastly, one more. Have you ever worked for a highly innovative company? If so, what was done that made it so innovative? If not, what could have been done to make it more innovative? Think of an instance in which you were specially creative. Did it involve a task at which you were particularly skillful and that you found interesting? For example, composing music. Also, did you use any of the creativity relevant skills identified here? Example: divergent thinking, productive forgetting. In retrospect, what additional skills might you have used to be even more creative in that situation? So students, I've given you a lot of points to think about. I've given you a lot of questions to think about. So happy answering. Thank you.